guys, how you doing? Danny here. I am here with Coach Tommy at Phobos, and today we're just going to talk you through the very simple movement of the push-up. Well, we say it's simple, but there's actually quite a bit more to it than what you imagine. We're going to make these efficient for you and show you how you should be working your whole body to make sure you're getting the most out of your push-up and you're getting the most work from all the muscles required to get you into the right shapes. Now, when we come to the push-up, the first thing that we want to look at is our start position. So if I get Tommy to come down into a plank, what you notice with Tommy's start position is, first of all, I want to make sure that his feet are close together. So we're going to get them touching. The next thing that I want Tommy to focus on is trying to squeeze the front of his legs. Now, the reason why we do that, if you show me a broken hip, is if I break at the hip here, what that means is I'm going to be leading with my hips when I come into my push-up, which means all the weight is going to be distributed into the front of the shoulders, and I'm not going to have an equal balance. That means my legs aren't doing any of the work for me. And this is a common fault when we look at the push-up, is that people just focus on this area and actually forget what's going on here. So Tommy's going to focus on squeezing the front of his legs and driving his toes into the ground as hard as he possibly can. Now, the next thing here is I want to make sure that Tommy's pelvis is turned. All right, I'm driving my belly button through my spine. The reason for that, again, is I don't want to have a collapsed hip when I'm coming down, when I'm coming into my push-up position. So when I'm driving my chest down into the floor, I don't want my hips hitting the ground. So we're going to try and drive our belly button through our spine with a nice strong drive and really tensing those abs. The next section we're going to look at is Tommy's shoulders. They're over his wrists. All right, so Tommy at this moment in time is pushing the floor away from him. That makes sure that his back is engaged, because this is where a lot of the work comes from. Now, from here, what we want to do is initiate, we're taking our chest down to the floor. So to do that, Tommy's going to drive his elbows back, his chest is going to come in contact to the floor, but his quads are going to remain off the floor. Now what Tommy's going to focus on doing in this position with his hands is screwing his small fingers into the ground. That's doing something called creating torque. Now, if you come back up into the top position, if you look here, if Tommy drives his elbows out, he can't create any torque through the floor, he collapses at the hip, and more importantly as well, his quads want to come into the ground. He can't initiate his chest because of the position of his elbows. So we're thinking about driving those elbows back up to the top, nice and close into the ribs. So if we screw our fingers into the arms, our elbows automatically want to drive into that direction. So as he screws his hands into the floors, creating that torque, driving his chest down to the ground, his chest then comes in contact with the floor, keeping his quads off. Remember what I said about this section. We now want to drive our toes into the ground and we want to screw our hands into the ground, and this will make sure that our chest and hip raises at the same time, like so. If I don't push, go back down into the bottom position. If I don't push my feet into the floor, watch how Tommy's chest comes up first. So he does like the snake position. So again, focusing on keeping that pelvis nice and tight, driving that belly button through the spine, screwing the fingers into the ground, pushing the feet into the floor as well. So you've got your 4 points of contact, you're going to come down to the floor, elbows nice and close to the ribs, chest touches the floor, screw the hands into the ground, push back out, lock the elbows out over top. All right guys, if you've got any questions, send me a message, make sure you subscribe. And if you need us, that's what we're here for. Thanks guys.